Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Thank you very much for joining today's webinar entitled Digital Learning for Older Adults, Advancing Inclusion in Learning Cities. My name is Mo Wang, Senior Program Specialist working within the UNESCO Global Network of Learning Cities GNLC coordination team at the UNESCO Institute for Lifelong Learning, UIL. I'm going to moderate today's webinar with my colleague, Susie. Dear Susie, would you like to say hello to everyone?
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Mo, for the introduction, and I'm looking forward to co-moderating this with you.
Thank you, Susie. I would like to share that today's event is part of a series of webinars organized throughout the year within the framework of the GNLC. Across this series, we explore key themes related to lifelong learning and how cities can better support learning opportunities for people of all ages. Today's topic is particularly important as it focuses on advancing inclusion by supporting older adults to access and benefit from digital learning, especially in the context of rapidly aging population across the whole world. Let me briefly walk you through today's agenda. We will begin with opening remarks from Ms. Isabel Kempf, Director of UIL, and Mr. Songhua Wang, Vice President of Shanghai Open University and President of Shanghai University for Seniors. We will then hear an expert input from Mr. Simon Kollermann, Officer for Digitalisation and Education, German National Association of Senior Citizens Organizations, BAGSO, Germany. This will be followed by 3 presentations from GNLC member cities: Windham City, Australia; Dublin, Ireland; Chia, Colombia. Finally, we will open the floor for discussion and questions from the audience. We have quite a packed agenda today, and I would like to kindly ask all speakers to strictly stick to their allotted time, so we are able to take some questions at the end. Lastly, I will share 3 important technical points. First, this event is being recorded and will later be available via the URL website. Secondly, we warmly invite you, all the participants, to please use the chat box for any comments you may have during the event or to let us know where you are joining us from. Please also use the Q&A box for any questions you have for our speakers. We will definitely do our best to address as many of your questions as possible. Finally, interpretation is available throughout today's webinar in Arabic, Chinese, French, Korean, and Spanish. I would like to warmly thank all of our partners who are supporting us with language interpretation. Chinese interpretation is provided by the Shanghai Municipal Institute for Lifelong Education, SMILE, in the People's Republic of China. For Arabic, interpretation is provided by the Regional Center of Quality and Excellence in Education, RCQE, under the auspices of UNESCO, located in Jubail, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. The Korean interpretation is provided by Insight Crew, a group that supports learning cities for their performance management from Republic of Korea. Thank you very much once again to our partners for making this webinar more accessible through your support. Okay, now without any further ado, I would like to invite our speakers for the opening remarks. It's my great pleasure to first welcome Ms. Isabel Kempf, Director of UNESCO Institute for Lifelong Learning. Dear Isabel, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Mo, and warm welcome to all the colleagues, the distinguished speakers, and from all the participants from our learning cities and other partners around the world. It's a really very great pleasure to open this session as part of our global webinar series, which is called Unlocking the Power of Lifelong Learning. And I would like to also extend my sincere thanks to all of you for joining us today, to our partners and speakers, who all bring such a rich and diverse perspective to this discussion. I would also like to thank our co-organizer, Shanghai Open University, which is a very valued and strategic partner of UIL. And we are very grateful for their strong cooperation on joint initiatives promoting lifelong learning for all globally, and also to their continued support in advancing our work on lifelong learning for older adults. Because today's topic could not be more timely, because digital inclusion is not longer a luxury, it is a necessity for full participation in modern societies. Access to digital technologies increasingly shape how we learn, how we work, and how we communicate. And also, of course, how we engage with essential services that we are using every day. Yet, for many older adults around the world, this transformation is often still out of reach. Barriers include access, skills, and support, and constitute what we call the gray digital divide. Globally, an estimated 2.6 billion people remain offline, with older adults often representing a large part of those being offline. Even in highly connected regions, significant gaps persist. For example, in the European Union, around 40% of people aged 65 to 74 lack at least basic digital skills. But this divide is not only about technology, it's about equity and also about dignity. And it's about the right of every individual at every stage of their life to participate fully in society. At the UNESCO Institute for Lifelong Learning, we are committed to advancing this agenda through research, policy dialogue, and international cooperation. So I'm very pleased to highlight also in this context our recent report, Bridging the Great Digital Divide, Enhancing ICT Learning for Older Adults. This study, developed in collaboration with Shanghai Open University and the Institute for the Future of Education at the Tec de Monterrey, brings together 6 case studies from across 5 UNESCO regions. And the report demonstrates that meaningful digital inclusion is achievable. Across diverse contexts, we see how community learning centers, nonprofit organizations, educational institutions, and local governments are designing innovative and inclusive approaches to support older learners. So you're very welcome to read the report and check what's happening maybe also in your region. And we are pleased to see that these experiences show that with the right support, structures, and pedagogical approaches, such as tailored learning programs, age-friendly environments, and intergenerational collaboration, older adults can and do engage actively with digital technologies for their own learning. At the same time, the findings remind us that sustainable impact requires more than individual programs. It calls for strong policy frameworks, inclusive learning infrastructures, and coordinated action across different sectors. And in this regard, cities play a unique and important role. As members of the UNESCO Global Network of Learning Cities, cities are at the forefront of translating global commitments into local action and learning. They are well positioned to design inclusive, needs-based strategies that respond to the needs and realities of their communities. Whether through community-based learning programs, intergenerational initiatives, or partnerships with local actors, learning cities are demonstrating how digital inclusion can be advanced in practical and very meaningful ways. So today's webinar offers an opportunity to learn directly from those experiences. We will hear insights from experts and examples from learning cities across different regions, illustrating how innovative approaches can help bridge digital inequalities and empower also older adults and learners. I hope that this discussion will not only inspire new ideas, but also strengthen our collective commitment to ensuring that no one is left behind in the digital age. So thank you very much, and I wish you a very inspiring discussion. Thank you, Mo. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Isabel, for your very encouraging words and also for setting the stage for today's exchange and discussion so clearly. Ladies and gentlemen, colleagues, we will now soon hear from Mr. Songhua Wang, Vice President of Shanghai Open University and the President of the Shanghai University for Seniors, People's Republic of China. ISOU and UIL share a long-standing partnership on promoting lifelong learning for all within international communities, with lifelong learning for older adults as one of the key focuses. We are honored to have Vice President Wang with us here today. His speech will be delivered in Chinese, so for those wishing to listen in English, please select the English interpretation channel. Dear Ms. Wang, the floor is yours.
各位嘉宾、各位同仁、
My distinguished guest
朋友
colleagues,
们，大家好！
friends,
非常荣幸
good evening,
联合
good
各
morning,
中文组织
good
正式
night.
实习研究所
It's a
各位
great
伙伴
honor
们
to
共
join
同出席
partners
本
from
次
the
全球
UNESCO
实习研究
Institute
所
for
网
Lifelong
络再生
Learning
大
at
会，
this
聚焦
GLC online
老年
webinar,
人素质学习构
focusing
建
on
包
the
容人
timely
学习性
and
知识正
people-centered
义
theme,
经济
digital
思维
theme
与
learning
民生
for
温
older
暖保有
adults,
课题。
building
在此，
inclusive learning
我谨
cities.
代表上海
On
交大
behalf
学
of the Shanghai
上海老
Open
年大学
University
向本
and
次与
Shanghai
报人三
University
例召
for the
开
elderly,
表示
I'd
热烈的祝
extend
贺。
my warmest
向长
congratulations
期以来
on the
与我
successful
们
convening
并
of
肩
this
同行
webinar.
深度
To
吸收
those
在
who
联
have
合国
been
教科文组织
long-term
终身学习研究
partnering
所
with us,
向全球访问队
the gratitude
深
and
耕
highest
相关研
respect
究
goes to the
分享
UNESCO
实践
Institute
智
for
慧的各位
Lifelong
专
Learning
家
for the
同
long-standing
仁
partnership
致以
and
最
deep
诚挚
collaboration,
感
as
谢
well as
和
to
最
experts
崇
and
高的
colleagues
敬意。
worldwide who have
当
devoted
前，
themselves to the
人类社
research
会
and
正
shared
迎来两大
the
三个逼
practical
格，一
insights.
是全球
Currently,
人
human
口老龄
society
化进
is
程
facing
持续
and
加速，
undergoing two
引发
profound
了老龄
transformations.
成为
Global
不可逆转
population
的时代
aging
趋
is
势。
accelerating,
二是世界
and
数字化
the
发展格
aging
局
wave have
全面
become
推进
an
老年
irreversible
人面
trend
临
of
的
our
数
times.
字鸿沟，以
Secondly,
种代际
global
技术使用问
digital
题，以
development
为
is
实
advancing
现社
in
会公
all
平、
respects,
伦理
and the
正义
digital
的
divide
社会性挑
facing
战。
older
作为
older
中国老
adults
龄化
has
程度较高
evolved
的
from a
赵
mere
州大
technical
公司
issue to a
上海
comprehensive
始
challenge
终把
concerning
积极
social
应对人
equity
类
and
老龄
ethnic
化、
justice.
发展
As
老
a
龄
mega city
重振
with
实
high
现家家老年人
aging
素
rate
质
in
权益保
China,
障，
Shanghai
摆
has
在
always
重要的战略位
prioritized
置。
the proactive
围绕
response
数字化
to population
转
aging,
型中，
the
技术
development
引
of
进与
lifelong
社
learning
会
for
衰
the
退的矛
elderly and
盾，
protection of
效率
old
优先
adults,
与共
digital
同体
rights
型的
and
矛盾，
interest.
代际分
Addressing
化
three
与赛博
tensions
融合
in
的
urban
矛盾
digital
这三种
transformation,
矛盾，规定
technological
了
advancement,
制度引
physical
领
decline,
加
the
全
efficiency
全面广大
priority
类共识
versus
体
the
系，
equity
开
bottom
展
line, and
数字助老行
international
动，为上海老
intergenerational
人平等、
divergence
万
versus
古的
social
智
integration.
代、智
Shanghai
能
has
时代
established
提供
an
全面表征的
institutional-led
支持。
food chain
与
support
2020
system
年
and
相比
launched the digital
，2025
inclusion
年
initiatives
上
for
海
the
老
elderly,
龄素质
providing
素养提
comprehensive
升了
policy backing for the
18%。
older Shanghai
上海交大
resident
大
to
学
access the
10余年来
intelligent era
深耕
with
老
the
年教育
quality
领
and
域，始终以
dignity.
破解老年
Compared
人
with
素质鸿
2020,
沟
the，digital
推
literacy
进
of
老
the
龄
older
群
adults
体
in Shanghai
融入数字
increased
社会为
by
中心，
18% in
扎实推
2025.
进各项
For more than a
各项工
decade,
作。
SOU has
下
been
属的
deeply
上海
engaged
老
in
年
the
大
elderly
学
education,
正积极
committed
推
to
进老年
bridging
人素
the
质素
digital
养与
divide
技
for
能提
older
升工
adults
作，
and
打
facilitating
造
their integrating into the
AI
digital
加智
society.
慧生活体
Its
验场景，
affiliate, the Shanghai
开发数
University
字
for
便
Elderly,
民、
is
智
actively
慧康
enhancing
养
the
等
digital literacy and
素
skills
质
of
进
older
步，
adults,
推出
creating
了
AI
银发
plus
素质
smart
家
life
特
experience
色培
scenarios,
训项目，
developing
普
high-quality
及
digital
银发生
courses
养
on
团，
digital
实现
convenience
倚
and
老
also
带老，
smart elderly care,
互助共
launching
学，
featured
通过
programs
线
such
上、
as the
线下
Silver
相结合的
Age
培训
Digital
模式，
Home,
为
forming a
解素
Silver
养老
Age
年人
lecture group
有
to
效
enable
帮助老年人掌握 数字
peer
工具，
learning and
适
mutual
应智能
support
生
among
活。
seniors.
同时，
Through
依
online,
托
offline
4名重
integrated
症实践
training,
建设研
we
究
have
中心，
benefited tens of
常态
thousands of
化开
elderly
展
learners,
老年
effectively
人
helping
数字
them
化学习需
master
求
digital
与能力
tools
的
and adapt to
调研健
intelligent
全，
life.
包括
Meanwhile,
科学
relying
质
on
量、
the
系
Citizen
统分
Social
析，
Lifelong
精准掌握
Learning
老年人
Monitoring
数字
and
技能
Research
短板
Center,
与
we
实习
conduct
需求，
regular surveys
为
on digital
数
learning
字
needs and
助老课程开发
abilities of
培训
our
模式，
elder
优
adults.
化协
Through
同了科技
scientific
的数据
sampling
支撑，
and systematic
接着助力
analysis,
老
we
年人跨越
accurately
数字鸿沟，
identify their skill
融入
gaps
数字时
and
代。
learning demands, providing
正是
data
基于这
support
样
for
的实
course
践积累，
development and
我
training
们与
model
联合国教科文组
optimization
织
to truly
中
help
正学习
seniors
研究所
across the digital divide and integrate into the digital age. It is on the basis of such practical experience that we have launched joint research with the UNESCO UIL. In the third phase of our cooperation, we're deepening collaborative innovation around three priorities: global learning cities monitoring report, AI and digital learning laboratory, and learning cities for healthy aging. The webinar is a key part of the learning cities for healthy aging project. We hope that through global experience sharing and practical exchange, we can jointly develop a municipal guide to lifelong learning for older adults, for health literacy, promote a systematic policy at the city level, enhance inclusion, dignity, and social participation for seniors in the digital age, teach and contribute wisdom and solutions to building a fair and more caring lifelong learning system. Going forward, SOU will take this webinar as a new starting point to further deepen international cooperation with the UNESCO UIL and also integrating international best practices with China's local experience and fully advanced high-quality elderly education and effective bridging of the digital divide. We will accelerate the deep integration of digital and intelligent technologies into education and teaching, carry out the AI social literacy program through university-led social education, prioritize the needs of older adults, optimize the curriculum supply, and upgrade the curriculum system to be elderly-friendly, lightweight, practical, and also digital adaptive. We will develop an intelligent teaching platform and resource creation system, build a collaborative teacher-learner intelligent agent interaction mechanism, create immersive virtual learning scenarios, and expand borderless classrooms, cloud classrooms, and virtual learning spaces, and foster a learning ecosystem that integrates online and offline learning and connects learning with a real-world application. We stand ready to work with UNESCO, UIL, and partners worldwide to share China's practices, draw on global advanced wisdom, and jointly promote high-quality skill renewal for older adults. Lifelong learning will serve as a solid pillar for seniors to bridge the digital divide, pursue employment and entrepreneurship, participate in social affairs, and gain dignity and happiness. May the Silver Age truly become a golden era where everyone can learn, contribute, and thrive. Finally, I wish this online webinar a complete success. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Vice President Wang, for your very inspiring remarks. And we are very impressed by your sharing of this diverse innovative measures you have been taken in Shanghai for your effort to bridge the great digital divide. And also thank you for reforming your commitment about cooperating with UIL, also collaborating with partners across the world to further promote lifelong learning for all, and also to promote, in particular, lifelong learning for older adults. Thank you once again. Ladies and gentlemen, colleagues, now we will hear from our expert presenter. It's my pleasure to introduce Mr. Simon Kahneman, Officer for Digitalization and Education at BAGSO, the German National Association of Senior Citizens Organizations. Simon, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mo, for the invitation today and your nice introduction. Thanks for having me. I want to start immediately and will share my presentation now to give you an idea of why digital learning is a key to participation of all the people. Let me know as soon as you may see my presentation.
Yes, we can see it very well. Please go ahead.
Yeah, first we want to start with the question, why is it important for us? Why digital learning is important? Today, digitalization affects almost every area of life, and so it brings both opportunities and risks for us, including for all the people, from private communication and access to basic services and goods to support in situations requiring support and care. BAGSO, my organization, stands for Self-Determined Aging and Social Security, active and engaged life in old age, and the possibility of participation and co-decision without being discriminated because of one's age is our guiding principle. We highlight the individual freedom of choice between analog, so also offliners, and digital access, and promote social cohesion as well as the rights of all the people for more inclusive society. I just want to make a point here. Please don't forget the offliners and all of these digital learning things. It's also important for us to include those ones. But now it's more about the digital learning today. So digital learning in cities, to come a bit to the point of this, today main topic, the learning cities for all the people. Providing participation opportunities for all the persons should be in all municipalities. So digital learning needs to be located where all the persons live in all municipalities. So of course we can share here a lot of digitalization all around the world, but for all the people, all the persons, it's very important to be located close by. So we need local places, we need local experts, and we need material to experience and use digital learning at their places. For suitable learning opportunities, we also need cooperations with local authorities and local stakeholders. For example, from the government, from businesses, from science, civil society, and of course, very important, from and with all the persons themselves. Already in the organization of such things, we need to include the older persons here. We as an organization for older person, we have some demands for digital learning, and I want to give you some introduction to this. So digital participation as a fundamental right means access to digital services must be open to everyone, regardless of age, income, or education. So is a kind of freedom of choice. Of course, remember, on the other hand, safeguard analog, offline alternatives is important, especially for government. Ensure accessibility and inclusion. Digital products, services, and administrative processes must be fully accessible and age appropriate. That also means financial accessibility. Devices, internet access, and digital services must be affordable. Cost barriers for older people need to be prevented. Install a binding national digital strategy. If there's already a national digital strategy, it must be explicitly addressed to needs of older people as well. Comprehensive access in all municipalities. Expansions of broadband and mobile communication networks is necessary, particularly in rural areas. Digital infrastructure in care and housing facilities. Nursing homes and assisted living facilities should be equipped with reliable Wi-Fi as a standard provision, for example. Strengthen digital skills among older persons. Provide ongoing support for different initiatives and establish permanent outreach, counseling, and learning opportunities. And last but not least, promote participation in development and decision-making processes. Older adults should be actively involved in the development and decision-making processes of digital services, for example, in co-design, user advisory boards, or other else. Now I want to give a little introduction what BAXO, as a German National Association of Senior Citizens Organizations, does already to achieve these goals. As an umbrella association of more than 120 member organizations, we represent all the persons in political and civil society boards and elaborate positions and statements in all processes of political spheres. We invest in continuous dialogue with political authorities and organize conferences, meetings, and workshops. As an organization, we also produce publications and invest in public relations. And furthermore, we run pilot projects for good living in older age. The first one I may share is Digitalpakt Alter in German, is strengthening the social participation of older persons in a digital world. This project, we have more than 300 locations all over Germany, for example, in community centers where older persons can experience themselves digital learning and use digital devices to try them. In the next two pilot projects, Service Center Education and Learning in Older Age, and also in Competence Network AI and Aging, we have platforms to bring together information, doing network, and producing publications for such topics. I want to remark here now, AI is a very important topic coming up here now and is getting more and more important because it's also about exclusion of older persons. We need to be really sensitive to this. And the last running pilot project I want to share is Digital Compass. This one is focusing on older persons with disabilities, like being blind or being deaf in age. This means, very different opportunities for those people, and we are trying to help those people with special supports. Yeah, that's all in all what I wanted to share with you about this topic. Thank you very much for having me today, for your attention, and I'm looking forward for questions from the audience.
Thank you so much, Simon. Even your presentation is very brief. You stick very well to our time slot. But however, we think it's very insightful and thought-provoking. And also, you mentioned you want to make a point. I do want to echo your point that offline options must remain available, and older adults should have the freedom to choose whether to engage online or stay offline. I think this flexibility is a fundamental aspect of the meaningful digital inclusion. Thank you so much. So I think you also provide a strong foundation for the practical examples we will now hear from Learning Cities. I will give the floor to my colleague Susie to moderate the rest of the webinar. Thank you, Simon, once again.
Thank you very much, Mo, for the introduction. Today we have an excellent panel of 3 city representatives from the UNESCO Global Network of Learning Cities. You can see them here. We have Sharon Wheatcroft, Learning Community Officer at the Wyndham City Council from Wyndham City, Australia. We also have Dr. Christine O'Kelly, Age-Friendly University Coordinator at the Dublin City University in Dublin, Ireland. And finally, we have Juan Jose Valbuena Sanabria, International Affairs Advisor and the GNLC focal point for the city of Chia in Colombia. Without further ado, it is my pleasure to invite our first speaker, Sharon Wheatcroft from Wyndham, Australia. Sharon, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Shruti. I'll share my screen. And confirming, Shruti, that you all can see that screen?
Very well, yeah.
Okay, fantastic. So it's a pleasure to join you this evening from Australia. I'm Sharon Wheatcroft, the Learning Community Officer at Wyndham City Council. So in Wyndham, we see every day that digital learning is not only about skills, it is about connection, confidence, and belonging. So when older adults tell us, I didn't know I could do that, or now I feel connected again, we see the real impact of learning across the generations. So digital learning has become a critical pathway to participation, independence, and social connection, and is central to our work as a UNESCO Learning City. So firstly, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the lands where we meet today and pay my respects to elders past and present. So I'll now share a brief snapshot of Wyndham and a few key learning initiatives focused on older adults. So Wyndham is one of the fastest growing municipalities with an estimated population of just over 337,000 residents. So our community is incredibly diverse. In Wyndham, we speak more than 160 languages and nearly half of our residents were born overseas. So this richness brings vibrancy, but it also requires us to work intentionally to ensure learning opportunities are accessible to everyone. So in a rapidly growing community and a multicultural community like ours, becoming a learning city is not optional, it's essential. It's essential for social cohesion, community resilience, and inclusion across all life stages. So a snapshot of Wyndham. Our most recent census data shows that Wyndham is home to more than 32,000 older adults over age 60 and over, representing 11% of our population. You can see on the screen there, 6.2% are over age 60, 4.2% 70 and above, and 0.6% 85 and over. So this cohort is growing rapidly and their digital inclusion needs are evolving just as quickly. So these figures strongly shape our commitment to ensuring older adults can take confidently in an increasingly digital world. One of Wyndham's most distinctive initiatives is the Transforming Education Showcase, which explores emerging themes in lifelong learning. In July 2025, the showcase took the form of a citywide forum focused on intergenerational learning. So the showcase brought together practitioners from across the learning continuum, early years, schools, tertiary institutions, libraries, and community organisations. And together, they explored how learning across generations promotes purposeful connection, strengthens wellbeing, supports cultural identity, and creates shared opportunities for digital engagement. So this program featured examples of mentoring, intergenerational projects, and digital storytelling, demonstrating how people of different ages can learn with and from one another. A dedicated In Wyndham panel highlighted local programs that build relationships between younger and older residents through storytelling, cultural identity work, and digital engagement. So showcasing how shared learning contributes to stronger, more inclusive communities. This showcase was very well received, with 100% of participants reported overall satisfaction, citing clarity, relevance, and the practical value of the sessions. Many also expressed a strong interest in digital storytelling, AI, and I'm sure we'll hear a lot about AI, and cultural knowledge preservation, which is shaping our future planning. So the showcase reaffirmed that intergenerational learning supported by digital tools is a transformative way for building connected, resilient, and inclusive learning cities. So while these initiatives are grounded in Wyndham's local context, these approaches themselves are transferable to your cities of different sizes and cultural settings, because they are place-based, partnership-led, and designed around community need. So alongside these digital intergenerational initiatives, Wyndham delivers targeted digital learning support specifically for our older adults through our libraries and our community partners. So the senior digital literacy courses delivered in partnership with Wyndham Community and Education Centre provides hands-on learning in things such as smartphone and tablet use, online safety, accessing government services online, and digital communication with family and community. So our libraries offer personalised one-on-one digital assistance, a highly trusted entry point for our older learners at all levels of confidence. So in 2025 alone, 43 specialised computer classes were delivered, covering beginning computing, online safety, digital productivity tools, and social tech club. And collectively, our libraries reached over 118,000 program participants across all the ages. National partnerships further strengthen this work. Through Australia's Be Connected initiative and the eSafety Commissioner, the older adults access translated, easy-to-read resources that support safe, confident online participation in culturally inclusive ways. So many of our older learners, these programs offer not just skills, but a safe and supportive environment to learn. So additional short courses are delivered across Wyndham in community centres and online, offering accessible pathways, for example, digital literacy for adults, digital essentials, introductory Microsoft programs. And these programs build confidence for everyday tasks, online services, and ongoing community connection. So across all these initiatives, from citywide intergenerational learning to targeted capacity building through digital, our goal is simple: to ensure that older adults are just not left behind, but instead feel confident, connected, valued, and included in a rapidly changing digital world. So when an older adult completes their first online form, joins a video call with family, or discovers that technology can be a bridge and not a barrier, we see what learning truly makes possible. So these aren't just digital skills, they're skills for connection, confidence, and participation. So this is a heart of a learning city. In Wyndham, we are proud to be building a community where older adults are supported and connected through learning. So it's been a pleasure to share our work. I hope this experience shared today offer useful insights for your own context, and I'll be delighted to continue the conversation. Thank you for the opportunity today.
Thank you very much, Sharon, for that very practical but very inspiring example from Wyndham. Without further ado, we'll now move on to the next speaker. Let me invite Dr. Christine O'Kelly from the Dublin City University, Ireland.
Thank you so much. I'll just share my presentation with you. Can you see it?
Not yet. Would you prefer I share it?
Pardon?
Would you prefer that I share it?
Yes, please do share it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Wonderful. Is it visible?
Yes, it's visible, not the slideshow, just the slides, Suruchi, if you want to do the slideshow from beginning.
Right. Slideshow. How about now?
Perfect, perfect. Thank you so much. So thank you very much for inviting me to talk to you about this very small pilot project. I'm from Dublin City University. We're the world's first age-friendly university, and we're also part of a global university network of 154 universities that looks at age-friendly environments for older people within the higher education sector. And we have about 2,500 older people involved in our programme in Dublin City University. Next slide, please. So the Cicerone project that we have is a pilot project. It was led by the University of Catalonia, Barcelona, through the Age-Friendly University Global Network, and it explored how we might provide or create meaningful, inclusive learning experiences across borders using simple digital tools. The term Cicerone refers to a knowledgeable guide, someone who helps navigate culture, history, and ideas. In this project, that role was shared between participants who became guides for one another, bringing their own perspectives, experiences, and cultural insights into a shared European learning space. The pilot brought together learners from 5 countries, Spain, Ireland, Poland, the Czech Republic, and Italy, demonstrating how international collaboration can both be accessible and deeply human. Next slide, please. So the concept behind Cicerone was grounded in the simple but powerful idea that learning can happen anywhere, at any stage of life, when the conditions for participation are right. Using the COIL model, which is a collaborative online international learning method, participants met weekly online, each group connecting locally while engaging internationally. Importantly, the design focused on accessibility. Sessions were scheduled at a consistent time using familiar platforms with minimal technical barriers. This reflects a key principle aligned with UNESCO's vision of inclusive learning, lifelong learning, that participation should not be limited by geography, age, or digital confidence. Next slide, please. So how it worked. Each session followed a clear and concise discussion pattern. An art lecture delivered. First of all, our participants met and decided they want to have a focus on art in particular. And an art lecturer delivered a 30-minute presentation to all participants across the 5 countries, sharing a shared cultural and intellectual experience. So we met every Wednesday, one day a week for 1 hour, and the participants during the week knew in advance what they would be speaking about, and they went off and did some research themselves. This was followed after the presentation by the lecturer. It was followed by 30 minutes of discussion where participants reflected, responded, and engaged with one another. Each country facilitated 2 sessions, ensuring shared ownership and diverse perspectives. To support multilingual exchange, participants used Zoom's translation features. While not perfect, these tools enabled communications across languages, demonstrating how technology can support inclusion when used thoughtfully. Next slide, please. So what distinguished the Cicerone pilot was its emphasis on human connections. Participants were not passive recipients of knowledge. They were active contributors, engaging as equals across cultures and generations. Art played a central role, acting as a universal language that transcended linguistic barriers and encouraged interpretation and dialogue. The project also reinforced an important insight. Digital inclusion is most effective when it is embedded with meaningful activity. Participants were not only learning technology for its own sake, they were using it as a tool to connect, to share, and to belong. Next slide, please. So in terms of our impact and learning, the impact of the Cicerone pilot was both practical and transformative. Participants reported increased confidence in engaging with digital platforms, but more significantly, a strong sense of connection across borders. The project fostered intercultural understanding, reduced perceived barriers between countries and generations, and created a shared space for dialogue. From a policy perspective, it demonstrates how low-cost, scalable models can contribute to key priorities: digital inclusion, lifelong learning, and social cohesion. Looking ahead, Cicerone offers a model that can be adapted and replicated within learning cities and beyond. It reminds us that inclusive learning is not defined by scale or complexity, but by design, by how we create spaces where people feel able to participate, contribute, and connect. The next slides, Shruti, if you wouldn't mind going ahead. So I've listed the key advantages, and there's quite a few of them there. And I'm not going to speak about them all because you'll get copies of these later. But I put down the key advantages and the key challenges. We learned a lot from doing the project. And in actual fact, it was a pilot project that we didn't get any funding for, but we all decided to engage in it. And I think going forward, it's going to be forming part of an Erasmus application for a cooperative partnership between the 5 countries involved. It was really, really worthwhile doing. And it's only one of numerous projects we do in Dublin City University around digital inclusion and integrating with other universities that are also age friendly. I've elaborated on the slides, the key benefits and the opportunities. And of course, you can see them then for yourself when the presentation is over. In a rapidly changing world, I suppose, projects like Cicerone show that learning across borders is not just possible, it's essential. And I think that's the key thing that we found in the slides. My contact details are at the very end if you'd like to contact me for more information. And I thank you so much for this opportunity. And thank you as well for the presentation so far. They've been fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. O'Kelly, for this example of this very huge effort to connect various universities from across Europe and to make this happen. Thank you so much. Perhaps we could continue a few lines of thought that I have maybe in the Q&A session. But now we'll move on to our next speaker and our final speaker of the day. I would like to invite Juan Jose Valbuena Sanabria, International Affairs Advisor and UNESCO JNLC focal point for the city of Chía, Colombia. Juan, the floor is yours.
Can you hear me?
Very well, yes.
And you see the presentation as well?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So I will switch to Spanish now to make my presentation, but thank you in advance for the invitation. It's an honor for us to be part of this. So
Before you begin, Juan, just a quick announcement to our viewers. The presentation will be delivered in Spanish. So for those wishing to listen in English, please select the English interpretation channel.
All right.
Thank you. Over.
Okay, I'll switch now. Buenos días. La presentación que tenemos el día de hoy está enfocada primero en mostrar a una ciudad que recién acaba de ingresar a las ciudades de aprendizaje de la UNESCO. Somos Chía, somos una ciudad pequeña que se encuentra al norte de Bogotá y queremos el día de hoy presentarles nuestras impresiones y nuestras ideas respecto a cómo nosotros hemos manejado el aprendizaje digital en las personas mayores en Chía. Esta estrategia es una estrategia mancomunada que se atraviesa por todas las distintas dependencias y secretarías, y la idea principal de esto es mostrarles a ustedes cómo nosotros hemos manejado este tema y poder tener experiencias para intercambiar. Lo primero es que nosotros desarrollamos un contexto de una política pública. Esta política pública se desarrolla en el marco del plan de desarrollo, que es el plan que tienen los alcaldes durante 4 años. Nosotros tenemos periodos de 4 años que no se repiten. ¿Qué es lo que buscamos aquí? Que se realizaran los cursos de formación en las personas mayores. ¿Por qué? Porque nosotros nos dimos cuenta que en Colombia, y especialmente en nuestras áreas rurales, hay mucha dificultad en temas de brechas digitales. Los adultos mayores suelen, aunque tienen acceso a Internet, no tienen recursos ni conocen estas herramientas, y esto dificulta muchos temas para ellos. La idea de esta estrategia es reducir la brecha digital, facilitar el acceso de servicios digitales públicos y privados, y pues la participación ciudadana. Para nosotros es fundamental que la tecnología se vuelva una herramienta y un elemento para la participación ciudadana en el municipio. Es por eso que para nosotros participar en este webinar fue muy importante, porque podemos mostrar que aunque estamos en vías de desarrollo, tenemos también material para poder presentarles a ustedes y demostrar que también tenemos estrategias significativas en el marco de la política pública de alfabetización digital en adulto mayor. ¿Cuál ha sido nuestro enfoque estratégico? Nuestro enfoque estratégico se presenta para la alfabetización digital en todos los niveles. Aunque los adultos mayores tengan nociones básicas, no siempre se encuentran en el mismo nivel, por lo que para nosotros es importante tomar y adaptarnos a las necesidades de las personas, porque existen personas que, aunque tienen ese acceso a Internet, no conocen los mecanismos para poder acceder a satisfacción. Entonces, nosotros lo que hacemos y planteamos es que combinamos esta alfabetización digital con habilidades prácticas de uso cotidiano. Hay personas que no tienen bancarizado su sistema de pagos, por ejemplo, entonces todavía lo hacen en cash. Eso hace que las personas no tengan suficiente acceso a ciertos servicios que se brindan a nivel online. ¿Qué buscamos nosotros? Tener modalidad flexible, tanto presencial como virtual, para que las personas que no tienen posibilidad de desplazarse puedan hacerlo. Este acompañamiento nosotros lo hacemos desde una marco top-down, buscando que desde la administración podamos abarcar la mayor cantidad de personas que se puedan vincular. ¿Qué ofertamos específicamente? Nosotros buscamos ofertar cursos de alta pertenencia en los cuales estamos pensando en las herramientas más importantes para ellos. El tema del Word, del Excel básico, de las herramientas digitales, de una introducción breve a la inteligencia artificial y sobre todo marketing digital. ¿Por qué? Porque existen emprendedores, existen artesanos en el municipio que presentan sus emprendimientos, pero ellos no saben cómo capitalizar todo ese potencial que tienen ellos. Estas estrategias están enfocadas a ellos. Por lo que la idea de esto es que esta oferta para personas mayores sea lo más amplia y diversa posible. ¿Qué hemos tenido nosotros después de pertenecer y vincularnos como ciudad de aprendizaje de la UNESCO? Entonces, la experiencia de las Learning Cities para nosotros ha sido fundamental porque nos ha ayudado a enfocarnos en reducir la brecha digital en el acceso a los servicios y definitivamente en el aprendizaje a lo largo de la vida. Y en el municipio de Chía tenemos una política que no sé cómo se traduzca en otros idiomas, pero en español es de 0 a siempre, lo que significa que desde que nacemos hasta que morimos, estamos buscando una educación y un aprendizaje continuo a lo largo de la vida. Esto se ha fortalecido desde que pertenecemos a las ciudades de aprendizaje de la UNESCO y nos ha ayudado muchísimo para seguir impulsando estas iniciativas. Finalmente, nosotros consideramos que es un modelo replicable, por lo menos para esta parte del continente, porque realmente se desarrollan unas políticas que no son tan costosas, que permiten una pedagogía flexible y al final genera un impacto significativo. Hemos podido medir este impacto y ha sido maravilloso para nosotros que nuestra población adulta haya tenido el acceso a esto. Es por eso que les agradecemos a ustedes por el tiempo y esperamos que podamos tener un intercambio de información más adelante. Thank you. Here I stop my presentation, and we will be happy if you need to answer. We need to answer any question. So thanks in advance.
Thank you so much, Juan. Thank you for the insightful presentation. We will now move on to the Q&A session. At this juncture, I'd like to invite Mo back into the conversation to join the moderation of this session. So I'd like to kick off this session with my first question to all of the presenters. So we speak of older adults as a group, as a category, but they are clearly a diverse group with varying cognitive, physical abilities, socioeconomic status, geographical location, and access to resources. So my question to you is, how can ICT learning initiatives ensure that they reach and include the most disadvantaged within this population? So perhaps I'd like to give the floor to Simon first, and then we move to the other presenters.
Rudy, I'm so sorry. I was answering one question in the written question and answers. May you repeat again? Sorry.
No worries at all, Simon. My question was really, we speak of older adults as a category. However, they are varied. They are a diverse group of people with varying cognitive abilities, physical abilities, access to resources, and so on. So my question is, how can ICT learning initiatives reach and include those that are most disadvantaged within this group? From your experience, maybe through examples that you've seen in your line of work. So that's my question.
For us as a German-wide association, the access to all the people is the key. So to organize initiatives is very important to do it together with all the people, with all the persons together. We cannot do as an association, organize something and then are not being in contact in before with all the persons. So we need to do this with them together, with all the persons. We need to do this together. I think that's a very important thing I would start with now.
Thanks for the response. Perhaps we move on to Christine for your response.
Yes, one of the things that strikes me is, and I'm working, of course, in a higher education setting, and I think that a higher education setting, they're anchors to civic engagement. So it's very, very important to us to engage people at the level that they are at. And if they are unable to engage in the digital technology, it's up to us to provide conduits to that, to provide training, to provide access to it, to show people how it can be used, because our experience is that people don't use the technology because they may be afraid, but when they have a need to use the technology, they need to have the training to do that. So we provide quite a lot of training, and I think that's a real key to people breaking down a barrier, is to have a little bit of knowledge around what's out there, what they can get access to, because certainly in higher education, your taxes have paid for a university to be developed and you have a right to be there. So breaking down the barriers is really, really important. And giving people the tools and the skills to be able to engage is also very important in that element. So I think as cultural institutions and involved in education delivery, that's a significant role, certainly in the higher education sector.
Thank you so much, Christine. The question is now to Juan. So how can we reach at the local level the most disadvantaged people among the older adult population?
Well, it has been extremely challenging for us because when we identify people here, they are not only from the urban city, but also we're also an agricultural city, which makes a bit difficult for us to identify them, to categorize them. So it was extremely challenging for us to identify the basic level that we have to start with, because when you haven't started, it's quite difficult for you to see how you need to engage these people, because you don't know the level that they have. So for us, it has been extremely satisfying to see how people are interested on these activities that we have, on the strategies that we propose, and we have seen results really, really remarkable. For example, artisans here, they have no website, no Instagram, no nothing, and then they learn these digital skills, and they were extremely happy to see the results. So for us, it's extremely I mean, we're really happy on the results that we have, because this has been extremely satisfying for us in the sense that we propose, and they are receptive and give us feedback, and this feedback is extremely valuable for us.
Thank you so much for the intervention, Juan. Finally, maybe Sharon has a few words to offer.
Yes. Yep, thank you. So in Wyndham, we use trusted, familiar places like libraries, community centres, places that people are familiar with, our local neighbourhoods, and so include the most disadvantaged. We co-design, so we find out what their needs are, and then we offer tailored programs, one-to-one support, so we meet them at their level and design. We also are very much community partnerships, so we use other community partnerships and organisations to co-design and to help deliver the needs and programs.
Thank you so much. Co-creation and co-design is definitely one of the ways to include more people, for sure. I have one last question before we move to the closing session. So digital confidence has been a recurring theme in all of your presentations. My question is, why do you think it is particularly significant for older adults? And do you think that there is a role that perhaps culturally embedded ageism plays in undermining this confidence among older adults? Maybe Sharon, and then we go back.
So I think the digital confidence is particularly important for all ages, but particularly for our older cohort, because it affects their independence and their dignity and their ability to be social, to have that social connections. So we find that when they feel confident in using technology, it opens up the world to them, so they can have the capacity to have these social connections, to be more independent. So I think when they're joined, when they have the access to the services and access to learning, then it helps broaden their world.
Thank you so much. Maybe Simon can respond next.
Yeah. So older adults bring such a big process of experience with them, but the difficulties are definitely also in like digital applications and surfaces, interfaces. If you have like different icons for every smart digital thing, you need to learn every time again and again. But this is like a clash of something. You have a life experience so full, so rich, and on the other hand, you need to still continue learning every other day a new digital interface. And this somehow we need to bring together. And this is a very, very important topic, to make this rich experience of all the persons coming to this together.
Thank you so much, Simon. I'm sure our other presenters also have insights to offer, but in the interest of time, I'm afraid I have to move on to the closing session. So thank you all of our presenters for this, for your contributions to today's webinar. I hope that all other cities that are participating as audience in this webinar will also get inspired by your work. I'd also like to thank the GNLC team for their excellent preparation for this webinar. Finally, I'd like to share with all the participants the link to UIL's recently released report titled Bridging the Great Digital Divide, Enhancing ICT Learning for Older Adults. It features an assortment of case studies from across 5 different countries on how community organizations, state-operated bodies, nonprofit organizations are building spaces for older adults to become more digitally literate, digitally skilled. I'd also like to warmly invite all participants to enroll in UIL's upcoming online training series, which is titled Greening Communities from a Lifelong Learning Perspective, which starts on the 28th of April this year. We'll also share the information related to that in the chat box. So without further ado, I'd like to invite Raul Valdez-Cotera, our Chief Program Coordinator at the UIL, to deliver his closing remarks. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Thrusi. Well, as the webinar comes to close, I would like to thank all of you for your participation from across various time zones. And I hope that this session has really provided you with a valuable insight into this highlight relevant topic that is affecting many regions across the world, regardless of location. And I think today's discussion has highlighted that digital learning is not only about access to technology, but also about empowerment, participation, as a well-being for older adults, ensuring that all older adults can meaningfully engage in digital learning, that this is essential for building more inclusive, more resilient, age-friendly learning cities. I would like to extend my sincere thanks to all the speakers for sharing their valuable experience. While advancing digital inclusion for older adults can be complex, your examples demonstrate that with the right partnership policies, and community-based approaches, it is both practical and impactful. We hope that the experiences shared by Simon, but also by the cities of Windham, Dublin, Chia, will inspire other members of the GNLC to take forward similar initiatives in their own context. I would also like to express our appreciation to Vice President Songhua Wang from the Shanghai Open University for his important contribution to this discussion. My thanks also go to our colleagues at UIL and partners who supported the preparation and smooth delivery of the webinar, including interpretation. This webinar, as my colleague mentioned, is part of an ongoing GNLC webinar series, and we warmly invite you to join our next session that is titled Greening Cities, Stronger Communities, Advancing Local Climate Action, which will take place on Wednesday, the 20th of May. At the same time, further details and the registration link are available in the chat. We look forward to continue this exchange with you in the coming sessions. Thank you once again. I wish you all a very pleasant day or evening ahead. Thank you very much.